This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning and welcome to the Big Football Show. I am BA and I'm here with James and Jack, my compadres, for today. I hope that your football Saturday was interesting for college football because it sure was interesting. And we'll be talking about the NFL games today. Jack will have to we already got Keith not here. So Keith is in a land far away called a cruise ship, so we don't know what's going on there. But Jack will have to depart because he's got prior engagement, so he'll let us know when that happens. But let's get into college football yesterday. All right, so let me give you the top 12 playoff rundown. And good morning, Monkey. Number 1, Ohio State beat UCLA 48-10. Number 2, Indiana beat Wisconsin 31-7. Number 3, Texas A&M. That game was scraped by South Carolina 31-30. Number 4, Alabama loses to number 11, Oklahoma 21-23. Georgia 35. Number 10, Texas 10. Number 6, Texas Tech 48, UCF 9. Number 7, Ole Miss 34, Florida 24. Number 8, Oregon 42, Minnesota 13. And number 12, BYU 44, TCU 13. Oh, by the way, number 9, Notre Dame 37, and number 22, Pittsburgh 15. I found the Texas A&M South Carolina quite intriguing. I don't know if you guys had caught some of that game, but when I saw that, I was watching another game actually, but when I saw that South Carolina was ahead 30-3 at halftime, I was like, "Oh, let me go watch this because this is kind of woo." And then Texas A&M just mounted a heck of a comeback on them. It's like there was two different teams that played. There was the ugly Texas Tech or the Texas A&M team, and then there was the good Texas A&M team. I don't know what happened in the locker room, but somebody got some message through to them because they came out firing.
I'm not unfamiliar with this. I mean, I'm going to tell you, LSU had 2 games against Texas A&M last year and this year where it was a tale of two halves. They kind of messed around and made mistakes, mishaps in the first half, and then come out. Whatever they talk about it in the second half, they just tell you that it goes to show you that they're a talented team. But somebody fell asleep at the wheel in the beginning, and then finally they just, collect themselves and show their resolve. And as a team, what are they ranked? Number 3, number 2?
Yeah, they're number 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So a team that's like this, they can't keep doing this because again, you don't want to see this in the playoffs. In the playoffs, it's one and done, and you're going up against much better talent, and you can't do this in the playoffs. But it shows resolve. To come back 27 and to win the game is highly impressive, and it just says how talented that team is. And Marcus Reed is a sleeper for me for Heisman. I think he might be a guy that might challenge some of the, especially with the game that Ty Simpson had today, and and some of the other guys that have already had issues like Mateen. He was out for a few games. I don't think he's a Heisman front runner anymore. But definitely great game, like you said, man. And it's a great comeback and it's resolve. It's what you want from your team. If you know that and I don't think they should drop either because it was any given Sunday or Saturday and any given SEC game, you never know who you're coming up against.
Yeah, there's a parallel to an NFL game many, many years ago. To me, because with the same exact thing happened, same exact score. When the Washington Redskins won the Super Bowl, their opening game the next year was against the Dallas Cowboys in Washington. And the Redskins, are defending Super Bowl champions, led 30-3 at the half. And the Cowboys come back and win 31-30. You think they'll be demoralized. That's how the season's going to unfold. Yet, when they played again, Washington won 34-10 and went on to go to the Super Bowl again that year. But this is a bit different because South Carolina, what are they, 3-7 now? And Texas
Something
A&M,
like that, yes.
Yeah, Texas A&M is unbeaten. But is anyone taking Texas A&M seriously as a national power? Because it's hard to imagine some of the other big schools falling behind Carolina the way they did, getting in that hole to begin with.
Yeah, I would say they should take them seriously because look at Georgia, didn't look all that great all this year, and yet they showed some resolve. And in the beginning, Alabama looked terrible against Florida State, and then they went on to go 8 straight, and then they just got knocked off today. I mean, I know we'll talk about that later. But I don't think there's any solid team outside of Ohio State and Indiana that looks like they're, world beaters. Everybody looks beatable. And I think we start from that first game where Notre Dame played Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they came back to win that game. It was high scoring. They both were in the 40s. And so that's kind of where they are. And I think I still think they're finding ways to win. So it's hard to knock out the team and say that I'm not really scared of them or they don't frighten me because they do. To me, they do frighten you if they're down 30 and they have the know-it-all to come back and score in the second half and light somebody up. So yes, and I agree with you, South Carolina, not a great team, but they play. Texas A&M has played some great teams this year in the SEC. And I think do they still have Alabama? I'm not sure. No, they don't have Alabama. I think they still have a couple more tough teams to play, and man, look out.
Now let me ask you both a question. Do you think it's harder in college to come back from that deficit compared to the NFL?
When in the game itself, I think it's hard in the NFL. I really do. It's a bit erratic, the defenses in college. That's why we have so many high-scoring games in college. I mean, defenses rarely dominate in college the way they would in the NFL. And also, there's such a small margin of error as far as losing a game in college. James just mentioned Alabama. After losing the opening game, they win 8 in a row, and then they lose yesterday to Oklahoma. And one more loss, they might not be in the playoffs now. I mean, they'll be in the playoffs if they, continue to win. But if they stumble again, they might be out.
Yeah, I had a feeling Oklahoma was going to beat Alabama because Oklahoma's defense has been stepping up a lot in the last few games. And I was like, oh, Oklahoma with that defense, I don't know. Alabama might have some trouble with that. Sure enough.
The turnovers.
Yeah.
If we're talking about that game now, that's the main culprit in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Oklahoma's defense. They played lights out. But some of the turnovers were egregious. And I think Alabama likely could have. I hate to say that a team lose a game because, no, you're taking away from the other team. That was ranked 11. They played well as well. But Alabama just really looked like they lost themselves that game with some of the turnovers. I mean, Ty Simpson looked like he threw a couple of egregious interceptions. One was overturned from a pass interference in the red zone. Man, they just looked like they were trying to lose that game. But shout out to Mateen and Oklahoma, and particularly that defense. They came to play and they won the game.
You know, I felt that Ty Simpson had problems in the last game too. Did he throw a couple interceptions in that game as well? I think that's where this is See, and this is why I said going against Oklahoma might have been a little bit, because he was already starting to digress a little bit. And you come to a certain point in the season, you start digressing as a quarterback, I guess, from that. What is he? Is he a sophomore or senior?
Senior, I believe. Yeah. Well, he's set to get drafted, so he's at least a junior.
Okay.
What Alabama quarterback hasn't been drafted?
Yeah,
when was
true.
the last? Yeah.
True. Has not been drafted.
I mean, Alabama's a drafting factory. Last year, Jalen Milroe was drafted a little lower, but there was even some talk he could potentially be a starter at some point in Seattle. But you just look at everyone from Tua, Hurts to Mac Jones, on and on.
Well, let's take Hurts out of the picture because obviously he went to Oklahoma. But let's go Tua. Let's go. What's the kid's name? Bryce Young, and there's one more that was first round, Mac Jones. So those three were first round quarterbacks. But prior to that, man, most of those guys are like late round draft picks because they weren't.
Joe Namath, Alabama.
Well, we're going way back. Okay, so now you're going to go way back.
There's a long stretch of gap between there, Jack.
But in the Nick Saban era, let's just say that in the Nick Saban era, there's only been about three guys that have been, first round draft picks or high draft picks.
At some point in the draft, they get drafted, and there's a thought that maybe they could be a starter.
Yes.
Like Milroe, for example, he was picked in the 5th round or something, or 4th round? I forgot, but there was some thought that
I think it was it 4th round? I think it was the 4th round for Milroe. Yeah, I think Seattle picked him up in the 4th round. Yeah.
Yeah, Keith, I agree with you. I think Ty Simpson that was his moment to try to shine. That it definitely took it away from him, for sure. Mendoza is probably like a front runner. And then again, like I said, Marcel Reed is probably in that mix as well.
Yeah, they just been. I know Mendoza's been rolling.
Well, the way he pulled out the game against Penn State, people remembered that play. That's the one play that's going to stand out during the season, in all probability, when it comes time to vote. That he came up big in the clutch.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I could have mentioned Kenny Stabler too, and I didn't.
No. I'm glad you didn't. Yes. Some of
our Georgia's pounding of Texas there, man. Dude, 35-10. Texas looked like they didn't even belong in that game.
Well, until the middle of the third. I mean, it was a great game. Up until then, it was 14-10. It was close. I think the backbreaker was that onside kick. That had to deflate them, because they collected the ball. They were up 21-10. That it was over right then. And they got the ball 28-10. The game's over by then. Because now you're forced to your quarterback, Arch Manning, has to come back and win the game. You can't run the ball. You got to try to air it out, and that's not his game. His game has to be predicated on having some ability to run the ball, and they couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Texas was supposed to have this vaunted defense, and it just, I mean, they've been good at times during the year, but disappointing as well. And yesterday was a case of it. You couldn't keep the game close, and they've been like just.
That's not true. It was 14-10 in the middle of the third. That's a very close game. I think the onside kick really changed everything.
I understand, but you're talking about 4 quarters where you have to show up. I don't want to hear they were really good for 2.5 quarters.
If your offense is not helping you out and you're on the field against a really good offensive, and they're running the ball. I mean, I hear what you're saying about them. They can't stop the run. They're running the ball, and you got to give credit to Gunnar Stockton. 5 touchdowns. I mean, 4 touchdowns in the air and 1 on the ground. And yes, they are peaking. I agree. It's just Georgia's just good. They looked a little shaky in the beginning, but now they got Kirby's got that team lined up now. So that's one of the teams that you're going to be looking at in the top of the playoffs probably.
Yeah, they're peaking at the right time. It kind of like Alabama kind of fell short of that because of their loss, but Alabama's picking up right where Alabama should be picking up. So yeah, they're doing very well too. Notre Dame beats number 22 Pittsburgh. I try to tell everybody that Pittsburgh has a chance. No, they don't. Notre Dame is they're playing really good. They're playing real good. And I didn't think Pittsburgh had a chance. I like Pittsburgh too. I thought Pittsburgh was playing really well this year. But Notre Dame's on a whole different level right now.
They started the year slowly, disappointingly, and they seem to have gotten it together. But you want to see Notre Dame truly tested against one of the powerhouse schools before you could really evaluate them.
Notre Dame lost 2 closely contested games in the beginning of the season. I mean, against I just mentioned Texas A&M. Again, 40 points. You score 40 points in the game, you're supposed to win the game. The defense didn't show up, and they went up against. Now we're looking at a Texas A&M that's ranked number 3. So that was a really tough game for them. And the second game, it was a tough game as well. But now they run the tables. It's up for them to get to the playoffs from here on out. They will if they win out, and they will definitely. I believe they will win out. I think they're going to get in the playoffs. How they fare in the playoffs is.
Correct me if I'm wrong. There's still a selection committee, correct? And Notre Dame, because of the magic of their name, is always going to be given the benefit of the doubt, as is Alabama, if push comes to shove.
Yeah, but they actually are playing like a really deserving playoff team. I agree with you. I don't like that kind of thing. I don't think you should be picking a team just because of their name, like you said, Alabama. If Alabama loses one more game, they're out of it.
It's the TV ratings too what creates a bigger buzz.
For sure. Yeah, but again, I'll have to give them credit where credit is due. They're playing lights out. After those first 2 games, they've been really good.
Yeah, the only point I wanted to make very quickly, if you have a chance to tune into a game and it's going to be Texas A&M or Alabama or Notre Dame, Texas A&M would be the third wheel. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Gotcha.
Because of the coverage, yeah.
And that's why they got to go undefeated. That's why they have to likely, by all intents and purposes, have to go undefeated.
So out of I know these are the 12 games because these are all in a playoff picture right here. Was there any other games that interest you during yesterday?
Your alma, I would say alma mater. Your background, Navy versus South Florida.
Yeah, they did
Great game.
Good job. Yep. Yeah, they were beasting them early, and then they let them come back. And
don't laugh, but one game was intriguing: Boston College against Georgia Tech. Because Boston.
No, actually, that was a very good game.
The ultimate train wreck, and Georgia Tech is, rated fairly highly. They've only lost one game, I think, this year, and Boston College nearly beat them. I love games like that. I mean, Boston College was so irrelevant this year, and look, so you can never tell. Imagine had they won the game, Boston College.
And it's unfortunate for Boston College because it looks like they have pieces on their team to play. I mean, Turbo Richards and some of the other guys on that offense look like they can play, but maybe there's bad luck there. I don't know, but any given day you play a in conference rival, they may play you tough, man. They probably prepared for them, but Georgia Tech again, they're for real. That's to come back and win that game at the last minute. Not the last minute. How many? I think there was like 3 minutes left in that game. But that's great. Yes, I agree, Keith.
You got me to thinking a moment by what you said about the pieces with Boston College, and this is any school. Who gets hurt more in the transfer portal? The elite teams or the weaker teams? Because if Boston College has hypothetically 4 or 5 good players, they don't want to be part of a losing program. Maybe they like the school and they stay because they're college kids and they're committed. But if they want to win and they get tired of losing, I mean, you'd think a weaker team like Boston College, it would be a little worse for them than, a bigger school with a winning program that's kind of stacked.
3 letters. NIL. If you're paying me a lot of money and no other school is offering me more money, I'm probably staying. I'm probably going to stay to keep that money. It's just the name of the game now. And so, I mean, I agree with you. It used to be like when the transfer portal was around when there was no money around. Yes, some of these guys would go and play, or maybe some of the talent that's not starting, that's behind, like say, for instance, or Turbo Riches might be another running back behind him that's waiting in the wings and they're not winning and I'm not playing, then yeah, maybe I'll go there. You might lose some of that talent. But if I'm being paid enough money to stay here to play, and get an education, I'll put quotations with that.
Jack, you still have a point though, because everything is slowly turning around to be more of an even playing field now with the NIL and kids being able to transfer to any school they want to as long as they're getting paid. I think that's gonna also change the view of the people who do these playoff. It's not going to be the name anymore. We're not going to be, it's Notre Dame and we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. No, because you might have a Division I team that on a lesser playing in a lesser conference that might be just as good as Notre Dame at one point, and then you have to give them credit because they got great players on their team because of the NIL. So it's going to take a while for those incumbents to change their mind as well. Over the next few years, we should see a more, a more balanced. It's not. We're not thinking about Ohio State or Michigan or LSU or any of those colleges as a name. We're looking at the quality of the program and what they're doing that year and who they're beating.
So none of that is going to change. Yeah, exactly. None of that's going to change until you legislate how NIL works. And the transfer portal. I mean, until you govern that and determine, like, hey, you can't leave the school and you sign maybe a 2-year contract to at least be here for 2 years or something like that. And you have a salary cap and how much money you can actually spend on the team. None of that will change. That's not going to change.
So was there any other? I saw the Michigan game. I swear I don't know. This is the same. This is the same disgust I had with them last year. It's like, how are you 7-2? I'm trying to figure out how you're 7-2 right now because they're not playing really well. And then there was a big debate in some chats about the quarterback Bryce Underwood. You got to remember he's still he's 18 years old and he's a freshman. And he's a freshman in a truer word of that name. And I think I'd say it's a coaching staff. I don't like the offensive coordinator at all. He doesn't let him play up to his potential. And this is why he's, he doesn't play with a constant fury.
Brian, I have no sympathy for you complaining about your team and that they're 7-2. We just got a coach fired. We spent $20 million on extra players for LSU. We have an interim coach, and we are now 6-4. And that barely beat. We got the golden boot that we barely beat Arkansas by 1 point. So kudos to Michigan for still being able to fight through and be 7-2.
Well, this is linked partly to college, partly to the NFL. But Bill Belichick says he's not interested in the Giant job. But after losing his North Carolina team to Wake Forest yesterday, 28-12, who thinks the Giants want to hire Bill Belichick? I mean,
who thinks anybody wants to hire Bill Belichick?
The only sense it would make, unless the ownership is really sentimental, like John Mara going back to the past, because Belichick has obviously very strong roots to the Giants. As their defensive coordinator all the years when they won a couple of Super Bowls. But what makes anyone think, anyone would want to hire him in the NFL? So of course, he's going to say he's committed to Carolina. But the problem is Carolina really improving under him? They won a game last week. and you just want to see steady improvement. And I know I'm against moral victories, but you want the games to be competitive. And his teams, I mean, they play hard, but they don't generate any offense. That's the problem. No offense at all, usually. And that's been the case all season for the most part.
So we talked about this the other day, and you kind of poo-pooed what I said that because you said he already shut it down that he's not. I think that he's not interested. I disagree with that. I think that's a smokescreen. I don't think he want. I mean, Bill is pretty much well, he used to be a
He would
real
take in
private
the
and
snap of
introverted guy.
a finger, James. He would take an NFL job in the snap of a finger.
I think he would too.
No one is going to offer him a position.
I think the Giants would. I think the Giants would. I think you give him just to see. I think to kick the tread on the tire, see what they can do with him. He was never the head coach there. He was the defensive coordinator there under the Big Tuna, and I think maybe he wants that to see if he can win a championship himself. And then he wants to get back in the NFL, like you said. He definitely wants to get back in the NFL. And what if they offer him? But they need to get rid of their GM. I'll be honest with you. They still need to fire their GM at the end of the season and give Bill Belichick that opportunity to be not just the coach, but also be the GM as well.
I have a debate question for already tell you, Brian, you got to write it down because I'm going to forget. What would be a better fit for next season? Bill Belichick becoming the Giant coach or Rex Ryan coming back to become the Jet coach? What would be a better fit?
Oh, definitely a good question.
Good question.
And everybody should have popcorn ready too, because it would probably be laughable as well.
It doesn't make a difference where you think Bill needs to go. It's up to Jordan to tell him where he needs to go. Yeah, you ain't going there, Bill. Okay. Anyway.
Come on.
Hey, I got to throw that in there. That's always a popular thing. What other game? Oh, you just mentioned your LSU game. Is it?
Yeah.
Where do you see the real problem at, though? I mean, I know they won,
but offense. Defense has been great. Offense has been the culprit, and clearly they benched Garrett Nussmeier, which is odd for me. I mean, I think he's been hurt most of the season, and with an oblique strain or tear or something like that. And you got Van Buren in there. He's not a better option. I think they just need to. It's going to be better when they get another coach, when a big name in there. And I'll be honest with you, this is big. This is not probably going to happen. But the Vegas has the betting odds. The top guy to be the guy to come in and be the head coach is Nick Saban. So that's where
again.
Yes. I mean, he shut it down already, and I don't think it's going to happen. But what Shaq said something as well about possibly Nick Saban coming back to that they're in the talks, that they've been talking to each other, LSU and Nick Saban, and Vegas again has the top betting odds of being the next head coach for LSU. I don't think it's going to happen, but I will do cartwheels if it does.
Now, James, Saban can get a job anywhere he wants. Hypothetically, if Saban wanted to come back to the NFL, you don't think a team like the Carolina Panthers would seriously consider it, or the Atlanta Falcons?
I don't think he would consider it. I think he loves college. I saw him on the Pivot on Ryan Clark's Pivot podcast, and they asked him what was his biggest regret. He said leaving LSU. He said going to the NFL. He said, mind you, I went to, let me say it, let me finish. He went to Alabama afterwards. Oh my goodness. He went to Alabama afterwards, but that would, yes, I can still do a cartwheel. Thank you.
Yeah,
but I would think that
that's unfinished business.
I figured that's what you're saying.
With the Miami Dolphins, maybe he just wants to go back. Look, we heard the same nonsense of Rick Pitino. He's not going anywhere else, and he made it clear when he went to Iona, this is absolutely 100% my last stop, and then he leaves there and goes to coach St. John's. I mean, we hear that all the time. I mean,
So that's
what
fair.
Saban says, I wouldn't listen to.
True. But it's fair to say what you said, that there may be unfinished business in the NFL. But look, picture this. Maybe there's unfinished business with LSU.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he ain't coming back. You don't want to deal with all
I
that
think
stuff.
that's ultimate.
You
I
don't
think
want
that's
to do that.
ultimately
You don't
he
want to
can.
deal with that.
No,
He's a guy.
you don't
Go
know
ahead.
what kind of life he's living. Once you get away from coaching and the responsibility, you might not want to go through the grind. Some guys need the grind.
Sure.
Look at Pete Carroll. He needs the grind. Bill Belichick needs the grind. But we heard Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells say once they got away from coaching and tasted the good life, they didn't want to go through the grind again. That's the thing. But some guys need it, and we're not sure about Saban. I get the feeling Saban needs the grind. He looks like the unhappiest man during college game day.
When did he ever look like he was a happy
But
man?
I was going to say he's the unhappiest man no matter what.
But can you imagine, but this scenario actually could unfold as crazy as it is. Saban can absolutely get a job as an NFL head coach somewhere. I'm not sure what franchise, but he would get one quickly when something would open up. And you know who would come back as his defensive coordinator because they're so close conceivably would be Belichick, conceivably. You could have that, and he's the only coach that Belichick would take that job as the defensive coordinator for because they have such a great relationship.
I have to respectfully disagree with that. I just think that Belichick, at this point in his career, is not going unless he just doesn't want to coach anymore. I just think that there's no way he's relinquishing a head coaching job. And I, as big as they are with friends, I just think that no, there's no way.
I'm just talking hypothetically. Well, what could
Yeah.
conceivably be what I could actually see happening?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. You'd have to ask James about that whole situation.
You got to ask the governor about that whole situation. I have no idea as well. Yeah.
He loves game day. Yeah, that's true. He does love game day, but Nick Saban does not. He's not.
But I agree with Jack. Yeah, I agree with Jack. I think that a lot of coaches, once they sit down and they're getting paid to not have to get up at 4 a.m. and go look at film and get 2 days and recruiting. Man, that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. It depends. A guy like John Gruden, that's his life. But you don't know what Saban. But I get the feeling he misses the grind. I just get that feeling.
And let's not forget, he's 74.
Well, remember the Joe Paterno's line? He wanted to coach, until he dropped because he said as soon as he stops coaching, he's going to die. That was Joe Paterno's thing. Some people don't
happened,
want to retire.
Unfortunately.
They don't want the retirement life. They don't want to play golf, beyond 1 week or something like that. They just need the steadiness of doing something that's, it's you get in society. Some guys want to work the whole time. I have a friend that's 81. He works. Okay. He says, well, what else am I going to do? It keeps me busy. So fine, let him work until, he drops.
It's definitely an individual thing. That's for sure. I just don't think that, I think Nick Saban has gotten to the point and he is really disgusted with the whole NIL transfer portal thing and these kids these kids acting like they're entitled, and he doesn't like that. He's old school coach, let me tell you, and he doesn't want to deal with that crap. He doesn't want to deal with it at all. So I don't see him coming. I think he loves to do game day. I think that's a truism by Keith, that what Keith said. But other than that,
I mean, but if he came back to coaching, my point is, there's a better chance he would go to the NFL than perhaps college because he doesn't want to go through all the nonsense in college because that's why he left Alabama.
Keith's already got it in for you there, Jack.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if Saban came to the NFL, he would absolutely talk to Belichick. I think about being his defensive coordinator. Belichick, if he thought there was a chance, Belichick would go. And he's the one coach that Belichick would take that job for. That's the point I'm trying to make. Belichick doesn't, I mean, you think Belichick's thinking long term at North Carolina. Plus, if Belichick became Saban's defensive coordinator, it would kind of redirect him towards a head coaching job in the NFL of his own. He'd probably do a very good job, as a defensive coordinator there. There's no reason to believe Belichick wouldn't know his track record. I know it's all hypothetical, but all I'm saying, it's the one coach that Belichick would take an assistant's role for.
I could believe that. I mean, I can see him coming back in a defensive coordinator position. Yeah, I could see him doing that.
Only for
I don't know about a head coach.
Only for Saban, no one else.
I don't think he's going to come back as a head coach in the NFL. What's this question right here?
They renege. They're trying to renege on the deal where they told him they would pay him. They owed him $54 million, and I think instead of negotiating or I don't know what happened specifically, but they don't want to pay him that full amount. So, and let's go to NFL. Jack don't have much time here. Let's get into NFL.
Speaking of the NFL, on Thursday night, the New England Patriots beat the New York Jets. It was a pretty entertaining game up to a point. I like the uniforms. That's what I got out of that game. I like the uniforms. Other than that, it was New England. It was the Jets. I mean, where are you going to go from there?
The only thing I could say good about Aaron Glenn is the guys are trying to compete. I mean, that's about the only thing. The Jets are far away. They're not building something there. I just want everyone to understand, when you're debating whether to start Tyrod Taylor, Justin Fields in the next game, what are you talking about? Tyrod Taylor should have no future as a Jet quarterback next year. So what exactly are you doing? Justin Fields is on the contract for another year. So play him out the rest of the year, even if he plays poorly or whatever, and see what you're going to do in the offseason. You're stuck with, someone's got to get blamed for the Justin Fields signing. If that was Aaron Glenn's thing that he pushed for that, he's got to be held accountable. I mean,
there's been some discussion, and particularly in the Jets, the not commentary, but podcasting and media, that Justin Fields is not an NFL quarterback, at least not a starting one. And that's just where, it's just, I don't know if it's confidence as well, but his mechanics are bad, and he probably should sit down as a second.
Once you sit him down, he's not going to get better. Justin Fields, this is his fifth year in the league. You're not going to sit him down, take some deep breaths and watch and learn. Forget about that now with the learning. He's been in the NFL long enough. And with Tyrod Taylor, it is a waste of time. Now, can Tyrod Taylor play a few good games? Sure. He could play a few good games. Maybe the Jets can win a few games, but you're thinking long term. I mean, I don't want to hear something that the Jets have. What do they have? 8 games the rest of the year. I don't want to see the Jets go 4-4 and hear, well, they're playing better now. They pick things up. I don't want to hear that. And you have to evaluate. If you're the Jets, you got to evaluate for next year. Everyone's auditioning. I'd let every guy know you're playing for next year. We're evaluating you. All of you guys are auditioning for next year. And see which guys you could build with next year. The next couple of years are going to be nice as far as the draft goes with the Jets. But there's got to be, every move you make now can't be just what would be a quick fix for the moment. It's got to be what you're planning on doing going forward.
You guys still got Adrian Martinez as a quarterback?
But the problem with Martinez is this. He might be the best college quarterback available this year, but is he a franchise-altering quarterback. It's highly questionable. If he was in another draft, he might be the 5th best quarterback. Just because he's the best this year doesn't translate it into him being a good NFL quarterback. It's questionable.
What are we talking about? Martinez, he's on a team, right?
Yeah,
he's talking about.
I think
he was talking about. He played in the UFL last year. He played in the UFL.
The UFL guy. Yeah.
No, he went to no. I'm sorry. I mistook him with the Indiana quarterback.
Mendoza.
Mendoza. Martinez is with the 49ers, from what I understand.
Oh, okay.
Jets moved on from him. Yeah. Why did they move on from him? How would it have hurt carrying 3 quarterbacks, keeping him around?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's a pretty good.
I would like to take a look at him. Yeah.
He might not be a starting quarterback, but he's definitely a backup quarterback.
He's behind, Purdy and Mac Jones, but Mac Jones is probably not going to be with the Niners next year because he's played well enough where someone will probably be interested in him. But then again, with Mac Jones, where can he find a starting job next year? I mean, the teams I'm looking at a little bit would maybe be your Saints, perhaps. And maybe the Carolina Panthers if Bryce Young doesn't play well the rest of the year.
So I'm going to have to strongly disagree with that because I think you saw, even though it's one sample size, one game, Tyler Shuck looks to be the guy that. Okay. Yeah. So I would say, no. But we got to wait and see. And he's got an easy way going the rest of the season. He's playing Atlanta. He's playing Carolina again. He's playing Miami. He's got an opportunity to put up some skins on the wall. So I think Tyler Shuck. And if we didn't, we'd probably be drafting a guy, a quarterback. But I think we're going to win some games probably to take us out of that number 1 pick, our number 2 pick.
I mean, I agree with half of this statement, Damian, but not getting them any help. First of all, there's a whole bunch that goes along with it. I mean, you practically got to redraft a whole offensive line and save the guy that's out for the rest of the season because their offensive line sucks. They got to get more weapons around him. They don't have any weapons around him. One guy, Wilson is out. So, I mean, who they got?
No, I'm going to disagree with that. Fields is just not good. And I backed him up on a lot of things. I thought, Chicago didn't help him out. I think, he showed a little bit of stuff when he was – but this guy holds onto the ball too long. He also pats the ball a lot. And he fumbles. He's one of the highest ranked quarterbacks. He's got 48 fumbles. He doesn't protect the ball, man. And now his one aspect that he had was running. He's not doing that. He needs to do it.
He's been playing on teams that have no offensive line. He's got to make stuff happen.
Trust Mike
he's always in a bad situation with it. And any team he goes to, he's always in the bad situation.
No,
he wasn't in a bad situation there.
Where?
Pittsburgh.
Well, why didn't they keep him on there? Because that was Tomlin's fault. That had nothing to do with Justin Fields.
Trust Mike Tomlin.
Russell Wilson Tomlin wanted to play Russell Wilson. That's the whole point. He said he's the starting quarterback,
but he didn't play.
He's coming in.
When he played, he played okay. He didn't play great. So enough to unseat Wilson, right?
He was 4-2.
The team was 4-2. The team was 4-2.
We heard it at Chicago that he could potentially be a good quarterback. We kept hearing that, and they moved on from him. And I understand it because he was with him 3 years, and they would have. And if he had a good 4th year, they would have had to sign him to a nice extension, because the rookie deal would have run out. And then he goes to Pittsburgh, and he did win a few games. And reportedly, some of the coaching staff thought he could be a good quarterback, but when Russell Wilson came back from his injury, Tomlin played Russell Wilson, and he didn't push to sign Fields at the end of the season. Remember how badly the Steelers needed a quarterback before Aaron Rodgers agreed to come over with them? They had no quarterback. Who was going to start for Mason Rudolph, who they got back again from Tennessee? but they waited on Rodgers rather than and they let Fields walk. That should tell you something. Trust Mike Tomlin. He knows what he's doing.
No, he don't. He don't know nothing about quarterbacking. He was gifted Ben Roethlisberger when he came on that team. And that team, he's a defensive-minded head coach. This is exactly the reason why he's got Aaron Rodgers. I keep trying to tell you guys this because he is a veteran quarterback. He knows how to make play calling and change play calling in the huddle. Not like Justin Fields. Justin Fields doesn't have enough experience. Russell Wilson is through, so they had to get rid of both of them. And they drafted Howard.
Arthur Smith is an excellent offensive coordinator for the Steelers, and Russell Wilson could have played with him. He could have run plays for Russell Wilson.
I'm not seeing it.
All right, let's go to the next game.
Anyway, so the following game is going to be the Commanders at the Dolphins. Well, it's in Madrid, Spain, and the Dolphins are favored by 2.5. Who do you got there? I'm going to go with James because you're up that way. So we're just going to go this way.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Miami. Without Jaden Daniels, that's still going to be a tough watch. You know, I don't, and Terry McLaurin's not there as well. So, and the Dolphins, you know, they look pretty good. They're streaky. They're on and off, but I think they can win. They won last week, right?
Yeah.
Well,
and they actually look good, right? I think they can win 2 in a row, but who knows? The bad Dolphins may show up, and Mariota may have 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. But I disagree with that. I think Miami should win 2 in a row.
Yeah, because the Dolphins beat a good Buffalo Bill team last week, we tend to think, Dolphins should win this game. The Dolphins, we think of them as being a little better than they actually are. And Washington's been terrible this year. The Dolphins have been terrible this year. I think maybe the Commanders have been the biggest disappointment in the NFL. And it's my theory is when a team improves too much over one season and then they slide back the next year, we think of it as a colossal failure, But with that said, I don't have a clue who's going to win this game. It's a real toss-up, It's overseas. I'll go with the Commanders to eke out a win, but I have no clue.
Yeah, and this is I'd say that I don't know about overtime.
Might go into overtime, sure.
I don't know about that, but I think the Dolphins actually win this kind of handily. I think Washington is at the point where Dolphins were about 3 weeks ago. Washington is in such disarray right now. They don't have Daron Payne in there. He got suspended for a game. They're just playing undisciplined football on both sides of the football right now, and Dan Quinn is kind of losing that team. So he's going to have to gather it up. I mean, it would be great to have a win, this week, but I don't see it happen. Too many injuries. This is just it's to a point now for Washington. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins on that one. 1 o'clock games coming up. The LA Chargers are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars at Jacksonville. Chargers are favored by 3. What do you got, James?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that favorite by 3. I like the Chargers to win this game, although Jacksonville, maybe they find enough to be able to try to win a game at home. They're still a decent team, I think. I just think I don't trust Trevor Lawrence, although Jacoby Myers, his addition is going to help Brian Thomas, but he's leading the league in drops. Or either second or first with 9 drops. And so that's not good for them. And I think that the Chargers, as long as – is Joe Alt playing? Joe
Alt's back, from what I understand. He came back a couple of weeks ago, unless he got injured again.
Oh, he got injured again. He's out for the season.
Out the season?
He's out for the rest of the season.
That's right. That's where Trevor Penning comes in. So, although they did win a game last week, I just think that I don't know. This is another one, Jack. I'm not sure, but
Pennington in a deal somewhere a couple of weeks ago, right?
yeah. You know what? I'm just going to renege that deal, and I'm going to go with Jacksonville at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Travis Hunt is out for Jacksonville.
Yeah, but Jacoby Myers, I think, will play well. I don't know if they win by 9, homie. They need help on that offensive line, and I think Jacksonville at home might he got to win. I'm just going to go with Jacksonville on this one.
Yeah, of all the teams in the NFL, if you have to use the term, there's something missing that you can't quite put your finger on. Jacksonville would head the list. I mean, there's just something missing with that team. They're talented. You think they do a little better. They find way, and they surprise us occasionally with, playing a really good game, like when they went to San Francisco early in the year and beat the 49ers. And then they muffed that big lead against the Houston Texans, playing with their backup quarterback. And we blame Trevor Lawrence. Well, he wasn't playing defense at the end of the game. He gave them a big enough lead that they should have won the darn game. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I mean, in the way the Chargers have overachieved this year, being 7-3, just when it looks like they're going to falter, they get it together. Okay, and anyone could win this game, but I'm good. I trust Justin Herbert a little more than I do Trevor Lawrence. I trust the Charger defense a little more than I do Jacksonville's. I know the Chargers offensive line's a bit of a mess, but I think Justin Herbert will make do, and the Chargers, will win a close one.
Don't trust Trevor Penning. Trust me, I know personally. Don't.
Wow.
On the offensive line, he is horrible.
So why did the Chargers get him?
They got him because they were desperate. They needed somebody, and they got what we paid for him. We were lucky to get that. We got a 6th round and 27. So it's just what it is.
Well, maybe if they motivated, first game with a new team, you kind of get up for it a bit.
Well, he played last game. I think he played last game. Who was I think the biggest?
And you're right.
The biggest matchup here is probably the coaching. Harbaugh versus Cohen. That's going to be one to watch, and who else coaches one. He is a good coach. Yeah, he's a very good coach. That's what I'm saying. That's a good matchup here.
Yeah, I think Harbaugh is better. But anyway, Chargers can. And speaking of coaching, that's basically I feel the reason why they won that Pittsburgh game so handily because of you got to shift around the offensive line and get the best out of what you have. And I think that's what they did against that. Remember, this is the team, Pittsburgh, that beat Indianapolis, and they were just killing Daniel Jones. So and stopping Jonathan Taylor at every whim. So, and I even picked Pittsburgh to win that game against LA Chargers. So, I mean, it shows you that team's got a lot of will. And that's why I think they're going to beat Jacksonville. It's just, you let Houston come. David Mills come back on you in the fourth quarter. David Mills come back on you in the fourth quarter. I just lost all respect for you on that one. Tampa Bay's going to Buffalo. The Buccaneers, that is, and the Bills are favored by 6. This is an interesting game. It could be a Tampa Bay win. But what do you got, James?
Yeah, I think both teams. Look, Buffalo all season has been plagued by giving up big chunks on the run. Defensively, they cannot stop their run. And if you're a team built for running the ball, it's definitely Tampa Bay. But they're still without Bucky Irvin. And I'm not a fan of Rachaad White, and Sean Tucker is decent, but he's more of a guy that spells at running back. And so they definitely don't have any wide receivers out there yet. Godwin's not back. You got Emeka Ibuka. I keep messing up that guy's name. He's decent, but he's one of maybe, and you got tight ends. And I'm not going to take anything away. I think 2 guys here on both sides of the ball, on both teams, have MVP caliber like quarterbacks. But I like Buffalo to win, by maybe 3 at home. I just think they have enough to be able to win. I like James Cook. He's underrated against the Tampa Bay defense. I think he'll find ways to get open, and they're doing well with their wide receivers. And just again, Josh Allen, man, they lost last week, and they're probably reaming from that loss, and they probably want to come in and win the game at home. So I like Buffalo.
Okay, I'm gonna make it quick because I have to go. I should have led off this game instead of James, but whatever. It's a must game for Buffalo because if they lose this game, they're going to be so far behind New England. I know they play New England one other game, but New England has the tiebreaker right now, and I'm not. And in losing the game to Miami, that's a divisional game that'll have tie-breaking implications. So Buffalo's looking at to be a wild card if they lose this game for the most part. Not that they're going to give up on the division. And Tampa Bay isn't quite in that situation. You know, they're still going to win their division regardless. Buffalo is getting better against the run as the year's going along. Keep that in mind. They are getting a little better. Okay, and their defense is tightening up a bit. James Cook is the key. Buffalo's passing game isn't that great. I mean, they don't have elite wide receivers. Tampa Bay, Todd Bowles knows he's going to key on James Cook. So I see the Tampa Bay defense that's very stingy, keeping the damage that Cook does to a minimal. But with that said, I think Buffalo wins at home. They just have to get this done against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay, obviously coming off a loss, doesn't want to lose, but they can afford a loss a little more than Buffalo. I think it's a desperate situation for Buffalo after their slip up against Miami last week. Okay, guys, I'm going to see you guys next week and enjoy the games. And I'm sure there are going to be a couple of surprises. We're going to be that are completely unforeseen.
For sure. Have a great day.
Okay. Take care,
Yeah, you too, Jack. Yep. Have a good one, Jack. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Buffalo on this one too. I think that the threat usually what is killing Buffalo right now is that run defense. But there's nobody on Tampa Bay right now that I think threatens that. So with that being said, I think Buffalo comes away with a win on this one. We got Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings, the NFC North challenge. Vikings are favored by 2.5. Who you got, James?
I like it. I like Chicago. Chicago is probably going to win this game. I like the defense of Minnesota. I think they can shut down runs very well. They have very good run defense, and I like Brian Flores' defense, but I'm not fond of their offense, man. I just think, and Chicago has a pretty bad offense. I think they're supposed to be getting Jalen Brown back Johnson back, if I'm not mistaken. Is he back this week?
Later on. No, he ain't
No,
gonna
not
come back for
yet.
a couple more weeks. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. He's getting close, but yeah, they don't have a good defense, so that should help Minnesota to try to open up some things. But I just like the Bears. Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson seem like they're getting more on the same page here, and I think one is, like meshing with the other. They're Caleb. I love his magician like plays that he does, and I think he can get out of the pocket very well. And he's probably going to need to do that against his defense. But I like Chicago to win a very close game, like Monkey said.
I got Minnesota in this one. I like Chicago, what they're doing. They are top two, or I think it's third in offense, total offense, and sixth in points scored. So Ben Johnson's doing really good on the offense, and it's still kind of shaky on that. With Caleb he has his moments. But what I'm looking at is the last two wins that the Bears had. They were lucky to win both those games, considering the fact that Cincinnati basically can't tackle anybody. They can't tackle a tree. That's the reason why they won that game, because they should have lost that game. Then they played the Giants, who should have won that game. But, of course, Dart goes out with a concussion, and then he brings in Russell Wilson, who can't throw, is as slow as Maple in January. So, I mean, basically they took advantage of it. We'll give them that credit. They did take advantage of that. I think the Vikings are they didn't have a very good game against Baltimore. Baltimore is up and coming, though. So They did have a good game against the Lions, but that's because they came out against the Lions. They did that. They didn't do that against the Ravens. They didn't do that same thing. And I think that they know this is a divisional game, and Minnesota won the first one. So I'm sure Chicago wants to half and half it, but I just think Minnesota is just still so much better than the defense for Chicago. Chicago's defense is horrible. It is. Yeah. Even with those guys in the back, they're horrible. But I'll take Minnesota in that one. Hey, Ben Johnson, I give credit to people in my division. I might not like them, but I give credit to them. They win, they win. I mean, they're good. They're good teams. That's why this division is so tough. Speaking of the NFC North, again, the Green Bay Packers are going to the New York Giants. Packers are favored by 7 points. Who you got, James?
I don't know, man. The Packers, which team are we going to see? I mean, because they just been looking pretty blah lately. And I just think you're going to the Giants, barring some, mistakes that they've made, they could have won some of those games that they've lost. And so who knows what's going to happen when they go to New York. And I just, they're going to have to lean with Green Bay just because of where they are. And I think they're still talented. But I don't know. Love is not looking all that great. It's, the defense is,
I haven't seen much keeping them in the games. I can say the defense for Green Bay has been pretty consistent.
But I haven't seen much from Michael Parsons lately. I haven't seen much from him lately.
But Rashawn Gary is the one that's really kind of benefiting from him being on there. So, I mean, their defense is playing to par. It's our offense is not catching up. And, of course, it doesn't help you when Michael Parsons throws your offense underneath the bus and say, hey, if your offense was scoring, we would win more of these games. Like, okay, Micah, don't start no crap. This is not Dallas, okay? Green Bay.
He should say, I don't know. He said the truth, but the truth should be kept in-house. Right, exactly. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Green Bay.
The Giants are starting 30-30, and if you don't know what 30-30 is, that's Jameis Winston. He's going to be forever known for his 30 touchdowns and his 30 interceptions in a year. But I mean, he's going to bring color to that team as far as he's very charismatic, and he don't care when he's out there. I saw a big stat, too, about the last time. He has not lost to Green Bay. He's not lost to Green Bay. And you know what? He hasn't thrown an interception against Green Bay either.
The opening season when he was with the Saints, when he first came out, he threw 5 touchdowns. So let me say that Jameis is a gunslinger, and like you said, he don't care. He forgets. Mm-hmm. So if he throws an interception, he's going to go out and throw that same gunslinger mentality right out there. And so I totally forgot that Jameis is playing. But who is he throwing to? That's the question. You got to have weapons out there to be able to throw to. And like I said, most DBs are comfortable at their stay at the Hyatt. And so I'm not really excited about a lot of the receivers for the Giants. And but Jameis, he might make some things happen. I mean, I don't know with the backups that are there. And so we'll see. I just don't. I think again, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the better team, and they shall win. But you're right. Who knows? Anything goes with James with 30 for 30.
I said, Jameson is going to throw six touchdown passes. Unfortunately, 3 are going to be for the Giants and 3 are for Green Bay.
Going the opposite direction. Right.
Yeah. But, I'll take Green Bay because I just think they have the better – right now they're playing really good defense, and they've been in these games because of the defense, because the offense can't seem to – when LaFleur is up there – and they're talking about getting rid of him at the end of the season because he's not doing anything with Love. I mean, Love has a potential to be a great quarterback, but the problem with him is when he throws deep, and he's got receivers that can burn. He's got burner receivers. They're not first, number 1 receivers. He's got a bunch of number 2s, but they got burner receivers. And I see a lot of times when he throws deep, he's not accurate. I mean, he either overthrows them or misses them by a couple of yards. And I'm like, dude, how open does the guy have to be for you to connect, you know? But
right.
That's something that they got to handle. But I see Green Bay beating the Giants. I mean, the Giants are like in their, what is this, a new coach mode now. So they got a new coach, an intern coach.
And of course, now. Jackson Dar's in concussion protocol. So yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but I got Green Bay. I'm with you. I got to have the better team out there. All right, the next team that we have on the list is the Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Titans. This is in Tennessee, and Houston is favored by 5.5 points. Who you got?
Is Davis Mills playing again?
Yes.
So Davis Mills,
concussion protocol still. So,
there's the Tennessee Titans has a decent defense. So I wouldn't be shocked if they make this a closer game than people might think. And I like Cam Ward, but there's just nothing on their offense that scares me, especially going up against the Texans defense. That front four, man, is just ridiculous. And then you got the guys in the back end and the secondary. I think defense wins this game in a close game, and I'm going to go with Houston. I think Houston wins this game. I just don't see. It could be. I agree. It could be because I think defenses are going to shut both offenses down, and I think the Texans though win this in a closely contested battle.
Well, here's a factual point for you. The Texans the Texans are number one at defense. And most of the defensive categories they're in the top 10, top 5, actually. Other hand, the Tennessee Titans are like last in offense, dead last. They're the Cincinnati Bengals of the offense. They are dead last. When you have a movable force or an unmovable force, as in the Houston Texans defense, and you remember they shut them out last time in Houston, 26-0. So I can see that happening again. I might think that Tennessee might get 3 points, maybe, because it's in Tennessee. They're going to have their home crowd behind them. They might actually move down the field a little bit. I just don't overtime. Oh, hell no. That ain't going to never happen. That ain't happening. Texas is just going to put another butt whooping on them like they did the last time. So the defense is just too much. Too much.
These are interdivision rivals, man. So you never know.
Yeah, well, yeah, they improved that with the 26-0 loss they gave them. That's the point. Division rivals it may be cool to say that sometimes, but when your team sucks, it don't make a difference if it's a division rival or not. Your team sucks. Your team sucks. Tennessee sucks. They were gifted a win, basically, by the Cardinals. So, I mean, they should be 0-for right now, but they got lucky on one. I just can't pick. I can't pick Tennessee in anything here right now. All right. Okay. Sonia's team, the Carolina Panthers. They're going against the Atlanta Falcons today. And Atlanta's favored by 4. What do you got? This is your division here, buddy.
This is such a hard one to really pick because on one hand, Atlanta has all those first-round draft picks on offense, yet coaching has let them down over and over and over again. And now you got Michael Penix in the media saying he has no one he can lean on, and everybody's like trying to get him to answer that question again. And what did he mean? He declined to answer that. And the coaches have to come out and, try to save face. It's just not, it's a crap show going on in there. Something's dysfunctional. And the Panthers are coming off a loss to my team, the Saints. I think they were surprised by them. But they still got Rico Dowdle. They still have a great offensive line. The only thing that I'm really not sold on right now is Bryce Young. He hasn't, even in their wins, he's looked mediocre. And it really doesn't help them at all. So, because right now, you got Atlanta Falcons got a really good run defense, and they got a good pass defense as well. And so that doesn't go well for Bryce Young. And if you know that Rico Dowdle is your The only thing that's working right now, put 8 in the box, shut him down. You can try to shut him down, man. Because I mean, again, it was hot when he had 200 plus yards in 2 games back to back, but it's starting to slow down a little bit. The Saints maybe has shown a little blueprint on how to possibly stop him. And look, and rush your quarterback. He's 5'10". He can barely see above the line, so he's got to roll out. So if you stay in containment, don't let him roll out. You've solved half your game. The rest of it is just running Rico Dowdle. So I'm going to go with Atlanta to win this game at home. I just think that they got to figure it out with the offense. They got too much talent on that team, and if they happen to lose to Carolina today, heads should probably roll, and you should say bye to Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson. Mm-hmm. So the offensive coordinator, because there's no way that your quarterback comes out and say that he don't trust talking to any of you, and that's scary. I'll be honest with you. So as a matter of fact, I think heads are going to roll. I'm switching my pick. I'm going with Carolina. I think Carolina's going to upset here at home in Atlanta. You heard it right here on the Big Football Show.
Well, I'm going to go opposite of that, or was the same it before, but I'm going to go with the Falcons because those are grown men playing out there, and I think they have some kind of pride after they got their behinds handed to them by those same Panthers in Carolina, and they've been coming out. They came off a pretty bad win against the Patriots. They, like I said, they signed their 5th kicker. I'm just exaggerating for this season, but I mean they gotta turn this around somewhere, and maybe the dogs will be caught off of Raheem for one more game. I think they're gonna beat the Panthers. I think it's gonna be close. Rico Dowdle, yeah, you're right, because Bryce Young is not impressing me. I thought he was going to come out with fire this year because he ended with fire last year. He has not shown me that. Dowdle has been that team offensively. And if you stop him, that's it. So that's why I got Atlanta, because they're going to focus on stopping him and then getting that offense together. I think Appendix will have a pretty good game. So I got them. All right. Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are favored by 5.5, which is kind of funny considering they got beat by those same Bengals in Cincinnati. So, and then they got beat by the Chargers pretty handily. Pittsburgh, that is. Who you got, James?
So, if there aren't any major injuries with Cincinnati, I like Cincinnati to close out another win, even in Pittsburgh. I just think that the offense is just great enough. The defense is pure, unadulterated trash. So Aaron Rodgers should score some. He should be able to score, but there's not enough talent on that offense to score that much. And I love the opposite side. I love Cincinnati's offense. I think Joe Flacco has been resurrected, so to speak. He's got like some serious talent on the offense, and he knows what to do with it. So I think they go there and steal a win from even at home with Pittsburgh.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm picking Pittsburgh, but let me tell you this. If they don't win this game, I ain't picking Pittsburgh ever again this season. I'm not doing it because too inconsistent. I don't know what's going on with that defense. I know we got our fan, our guy that gets in the comments, Robbie. He's always in there talking about the Pittsburgh defense is overpaid because they're not doing their job, and I have to agree with him. I mean, they'll show up once in a blue moon like they did against Indianapolis, like they've got some point to prove, but then you go and lay an egg against LA Chargers. I mean, dang, dude, consistency is everything. If you can't keep doing that, I don't know what's going on. But this is another game that Pittsburgh needs to win because right now the Ravens are coming on. And if they lose this game and Baltimore wins, bye-bye first place. But I got Pittsburgh.
But let me tell you, Cincinnati's back is against the wall, man. So when you got somebody trapped and they come out fighting, it's gonna be tough. I just again yeah, I agree with you, Monkey. I don't know what to think about them either. They just inconsistent. And like you said, you got TJ Watt and Cam Hayward. Those guys supposed to be like dominate on the offensive line, but I mean, one's often injured and one's just past his prime. So I'm not sold on that defense right now. And I just think they here and there they could show some. They show like they still have something there, but as you said, being inconsistent. Against an offensive line that's like in shambles, and they couldn't do nothing against it, in the Chargers. So they going up against a decent offensive line against Cincinnati, but they got them weapons. I don't see them shutting that down. I just think that it's gonna be a track meet. They got to keep up.
Yeah, I don't. There's like about 4 or 5 teams right now that are so inconsistent. And Pittsburgh's one of them. I think Jacksonville's another one that's inconsistent. They show some good play and then they don't. And then what's the other? Atlanta's another team. Hell, even Carolina's a team that does that too. You beat Pittsburgh one week. I mean Green Bay one week, and then you come and play New Orleans and you lay an egg at your own place. So I mean, a lot of inconsistent teams in the NFL right now that are lower tier to me. That are mid-tier to lower tier to me. They're just playing inconsistent football. San Francisco 49ers might fall into that one too. San Francisco 49ers are going to Arizona Cardinals. They are favored by 3.5. Who you got on that one?
So no Brock Purdy yet. Mac Jones is still the guy. And you got, still they're you got decent receivers and an excellent running back. I don't know. It's just really hard, man, because I know there's no Kyler Murray yet, and Jacoby Brissett, he's on and off. But as you can see, he can get flustered. There's the reason he's a backup. I like San Francisco to go in there. And is Purdy coming back?
Yep, Purdy's playing. Yep.
Oh, he is playing today. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he's going to do like coming back.
That's the look that I would have gave to.
I was like, I'm not sure, what he's going to be like when he comes back, especially with, since Mac Jones has been playing pretty good. I'm still going to go with San Francisco. I just think that they have a really good defense still, even though they have a lot of missing pieces. Yeah, the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been a letdown. And I just think that, it's falling apart there. So, and even with the small pieces here and there for San Francisco, it shows what coaching can do. You figure out ways to win. And so I'm going to stick with San Francisco going into Arizona and squeaking out a win.
I am also with you on the San Francisco pick because I think even if Purdy comes back, you still got Kittle out there. Purcell is coming back too. Which is funny considering the fact that last week he couldn't play because he was really badly hurt. And it's like, so he got really good. He got really better in a week. So he's playing. And you got CMC. CMC's like, I don't trust the Cardinals either. That's another team up and down. I don't know what Cardinals team we're going to get.
Right.
I can't pick them anyway because they lost to the Titans. You lose to the Titans, dude. I can't pick you. I can't pick it no more. So I am going with the Niners. Let's see. No, because they're not going to have a controversy because they paid Purdy. Purdy is the guy. Mac Jones is going to go to another team.
Yeah, just too much invested in Purdy. Right, exactly.
All right. This is one of the games of the weekend. Seattle Seahawks at the LA Rams, a battle for number 1 in the division. LA Rams are 3.5-point favorites in this one. Who you got?
Oh, this is must-see TV. This is definitely big old bag of popcorn sitting in front of TV, enjoying it, just like popping them in, because this is going to be offensive firepower versus offensive firepower, defense versus defense, special teams versus special teams. That seem like all the matchups are there. This is probably maybe We're looking at a possible NFC championship with these two teams. One's definitely, unfortunately, one can't win a division. One has to be a wild card, but could be a wild card with a high scoring, a high record. So it's really hard to choose here, man. I really love. I was on the fence. I was trying to say, who am I going to pick? Probably gonna, Matthew Stafford has just been lights out. 25 TDs, 2 interceptions. He's taking care of the ball. Even with that bulging disc, whatever it is he got going on, he's just been taking care of it, man. And he's playing the best probably he's ever played in his career, man. I mean, with weapons around him, I wasn't sure what Devontae Adams was going to be like. He looks good at his age, still playing top. You got is Puka Nacua out there too?
Yes, he is.
Oh man, I'm just gonna have to give a slight edge to the Rams at home, just because they're at home. But I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle eked out a win here. But I'm going with the Rams because they're at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams at home. It's really not a home game. You know how those LA, how those are working out for both teams, the Chargers and the Rams. It doesn't make a difference that LA fans don't show up for their teams unless it's our Lakers. Other than that, they don't show up for their team. And the Dodgers. But I have the Rams only because they're at home. I think Stafford is playing at an MVP level right now, even more so than Sam Darnold is. So I want to go with that. I mean, I love JSN. JSN is he's been balling. That dude has been
You see his stats?
balling.
You see his stats?
Yes.
It's unreal.
He's been balling. But
I mean, he's over 1,000 yards. It is crazy.
Yeah, on the other side, Devontae Adams is starting to ball out. He's been getting touchdowns left and right. So, I mean, and the running game for Seattle is not as strong as the running game for the Rams. I think that Kyron, what's his name? Williams. He's good. He's really good. And then Blake Corum is a good backup for him too.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, Walker is kind of disappointing me a little bit.
But he's still pretty good. Okay. He's got some Charbonnet is okay, but I mean they're decent. But I think they play better against lesser run defenses. So, but other than that, yeah, they're okay. But they they can find other ways to run the ball. They got Rashid Shaheed with jet sweeps.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably going to have some other wrinkles that they put in to help that run game, or maybe some screens. Wide receiver screens with Rashid Shaheed as well. So yeah, that's going to help them. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if they win. But I'm going to go with the Rams on this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Rams because it's a pick. But if it went Seattle's way, I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, Seattle won the first game against them as well in Seattle. So this is kind of like a Rams revenge game. And the Rams are playing at a much better level than they were at the first game against Seattle. So, and that's just going to be a bomb game, man. It's going to be a bomb game.
What time is that game? 4:05.
4:05. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Kansas City Chiefs. This is another pretty good game. Kansas City Chiefs are going to Denver to face the Broncos, and they're 4.5-point favorites. Who you got?
You never can tell, man. Our good friend Bo posted on his Instagram the post game comment by Bo Nix explaining the interception, the red zone interception. He said, "I just threw it to the other guy, and that was it." I'm paraphrasing here. I said that about sums it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Look, I don't know. I'm thinking that the Broncos, because of the defense, should be a lot better. But Bo Nix is having a bit of a sophomore slump, and so he's playing okay at times, and he's playing not so okay at times. I just think that Kansas City is a better team. They're more championship caliber. They have been all this time, and I think maybe it's the last go around. It's last go around for Travis Kelce. and they go in there and win this game. I think, and they're going to be without J.K. Dobbins, the Broncos. Maybe I don't know if Monkey knew that. So they would. I think he's out for the season, right?
Yeah, he's out for the season. Harvey's not a bad running back, though. Their rookie running back. He's not bad.
He's
at all.
decent. He's decent. But J.K. Dobbins was the guy in there right now. But J.K. Dobbins, his whole career has been injury prone, and so I like Kansas City. I think a close game on this one.
I'm going to go opposite that with Denver because they're at home. I think their defense is just going to be too much for Kansas City. You lead the league in sacks. I think they're going to get to Mahomes a couple of times, more than a couple of times. I think they're going to disrupt that passing game. I know Patrick Surtain is not playing, obviously, because he's on his last – I think this is his last game before he comes back because they got a bye after this. So instead of putting him on IR, he just let him sit out. Injury, just put him on an injury report, but he'll be back after this. This is a game that I don't know if Denver wins this game, Kansas City is going to be in trouble because now they're.
And that's why I don't think they're going to lose this game. Yeah, and especially without Patrick Surtain in the game, that's a big if. Because that who was defensive player of the year last year? Patrick Surtain. Mm-hmm. Having a great person to shut down one half of your defense is going to be missing from that game. And I think it's a big loss for them against a team like Kansas City. And Kansas City can run the ball. That means Pacheco, is he playing?
Who's that?
Pacheco.
No,
Pacheco.
I think Kareem Hunt's starting.
And he's still not decent. He's not bad, but I just like Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to whip the ball all over the place, man. They got decent receivers. And Rashee Rice, again, it's going to be hard to slow that down because they're missing their best defensive player. But again, hey, it could like this person said, it could be a coin flip. But I got Kansas City needing that win. Their backs against the wall. They need, like you said, if they lose their game, they're in trouble.
You don't want to never count out Kansas City because every time you count out Kansas City, here they come. It's to a point where you get sick of that. I'm telling you, can it end? Can it please end? Can you just be bad for the rest of the season and just go with it? But it's like
the Empire was never. I mean, not the Empire until Darth Vader was and the Emperor were destroyed. So as long as you got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes there, man, it's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough, brother.
Yeah, that could actually be a coin flip game for real, that one. I mean, Bo Nix has got to stop playing like it's not the fourth quarter in the first three, and then in the fourth quarter start playing again. It's like, dude, you got to play like this the whole game. What the, That's
because we're not seeing the Oregon Bo Nix. We're seeing the Auburn Bo Nix. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Get your inner Oregon in there, Bo. That's what you need to do.
Yes.
All right. We have the said Baltimore Ravens who are up and coming here going against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. And the Ravens are favored by 7.5. Damn, that went back. That went up too. Because it was like 6.5 before. Who you got?
Ravens. They have to win. They are way behind the 8 ball and going up against a great defense. I just think that it's going to be a close one, but I think that they got to win. They got to be on the backs of both Derrick Henry, which I think he may get shut down this game, and Lamar Jackson. There's just no way they're behind it. If they lose this game, that's another team that's in trouble. That's another team that's in trouble. And I just think they're gonna go win. Where are they playing?
In Cleveland.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I just think that, but I still think that they go there and find a win. And I'm not trusting Dylan Gabriel on the other side. It's just not. He's average, man. He's a rookie, but I mean, he's not playing like a superb rookie. He's playing like a maybe He probably should have been drafted in the 5th round or so, 6th round. He's given all he has, and it's all he has is average. All he has is really average, and they're not even thinking about putting Shedeur Sanders in. So it's what it is. I think and you got Jerry Jeudy dropping the ball here and there. You got a couple of nice tight ends in Njoku and Fanning out of Bowling Green, the rookie, but I just don't see much happen against. I mean, the Ravens' defense is okay. I mean, they're all right. It's probably what got them in trouble is not they're getting better. I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting better. Then they should be better against this offense. They should be better against this offense. So I like the skilled and experience and talent of Baltimore's offense versus Cleveland's offense. So they went a close one. I don't think it's by 7. It may be by about 4 to 5 points or so.
I don't know. Baltimore 7.5. It seems like a lot, but they are playing much better. They are. I can see a considerable difference from when they played the Lions to when they played Minnesota. They're playing considerably better. And Lamar is it right there. He's the guy that gets that engine going. And Cleveland has hard time with him anyway. Yes, it's divisional ground. Let's bring in the cliche. It's division. But I think Myles Garrett might get a couple of sacks, but I don't think they're going to win. And Cleveland is just they're through. And I think the Ravens win this one. Maybe about 6 points, maybe 5 points, even by Monkey said 5 is good. All right. Sunday Night Football. We have the Detroit Lions versus the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is favored by 2.5, and for good reason. Who you got, James?
You know what? I'm going to bow out. You got on all your gear. Let's let you have the first go at it because it's the Lions. Because and I will say this is the second best game of the day. So this is a great day for football today. Between that Rams versus Seattle game and this game here, I'm looking forward to seeing both. But I'll let you have it first.
I'm gonna let you know something, and Brent's gonna be mad at me for saying this. I don't feel this game. All of a sudden, I don't feel this game. There's just too much going on the Lions injury report right now. Porter's out for 4 games. Laporta, the tight end, he'll be out for 4 games. Kirby's not going to be back to safety. Tyrion Arnold's not going to be playing in the game. It's in Philadelphia. Philadelphia are still the Super Bowl champions until otherwise unseated. I know Philadelphia is going through some things too with A.J. Brown. That dude just needs to shut up. That's what he needs to do. But even with that being said, I love my Lions, but they have problems when they play teams above 500 a lot of times. And it didn't do very good against Kansas City. And Kansas City wasn't even, I don't think they were they 500 at the time? I think they were under 500 at the time. Or just under 500. They went to Kansas City and lost. I mean, it did beat Baltimore. And people picked Baltimore to win that game. But and that was before Baltimore was going through their bad issues. But as a football purist, not a fan, I would probably give this one to Philadelphia by a field goal. I think this game is going to be won by a field goal either way. It's just so hard for me to pick, man. I'm torn because I don't like Philadelphia. Don't get me wrong, and I'm a Lions fan, but I gotta look at histories in the last couple of games. I don't know. I'm gonna say I'll go with the Lions by 3, but I'm not real confident in that. I'll just put you that way.
I was wondering, man. You were waving a little bit there, man. I like, wow.
I'm not.
What's
confident.
going on here?
I'm not confident.
You know what? I remember we talked about this at the beginning of the season, and I said, "Hey, man, let's see how they play because I think you're losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. It's going to be really tough on your team. And they proved me wrong. I think, if the first game I said, well, maybe, yeah, they didn't do too hot. But then they just start lighting things up. And I think offensively, you guys are better off than the Eagles losing Kellen Moore. I think losing Kellen Moore, it changed. They look drastically different offensively from last season than they do now. That Saquon Barkley's not getting his 2,000 yards. He's not that runner. He's still a great runner, but for whatever reason, he's not getting the holes open like he did before. The zone scheme, it doesn't look the same. God is your best top receiver. Your tight end should not be your top receiver with talent like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
There's no way your tight end should be your top target. So with that said, the dysfunction in Philadelphia, to me, says that the Lions should go in and feast. They should go in and feast on this team. And I think even with the injuries, it's probably going to be a higher scoring game for their offense, maybe. They're probably going to move down the field a little bit. But I think you have all your receivers. You have your two running backs. And you got a quarterback that can carve up a defense. And so I just think that the Lions, it may be a higher score game. I think the Lions may have like 35 points here. The Lions may have 35, and I got maybe 28 or 31 for the Eagles. But I'm picking the Lions as well.
We say all this stuff about Philadelphia and their dysfunction that's going on. But remember, they're still 7-2. So they found a way to win seven games, and the two games they lost were to two good teams. Well, no, take that back. One good team. The Giants beat them in the other game, but they lost to Denver. So I mean, Denver is pretty much one of the best teams in the NFL too. So I mean,
well, before we go any further, let's look at their record and see who they played and see how many teams that they've had 500 above 500 that they've beaten.
Well, let's see. Philadelphia, they played Green Bay, they're above 500. Mm-hmm. They played scheduled dummies. Okay, here we go. They had a bye before that. They beat the Giants in a revenge game, and they destroyed the Giants in that game. They beat the Vikings. They lost to the Giants the week before. Then they lost to the Broncos. So they had a 2-game losing streak going on. And then they beat the Buccaneers. They beat the Rams. They beat the Chiefs, and they beat the Cowboys. Now, 3 of those 4 teams
most of
are legitimate. Yeah, they played some really good teams.
Yeah. Okay. So with all that, they're winning, but again, you guys are finding ways to win as well. Considering you lost 2 key pieces on both offense and defense in regards to your coaching, and you just revamped. And you're going up against a really good team, but I think a team that has problems, just like you do. Everybody, you might be missing some people. You're missing your tight end. Somebody else got to step up. I don't know who your next tight end is to step up, but you got to step up. Right. And I think, So, and your defense, were they playing that great? The ones that were playing that are missing anyway. Terrion Arnold, he's okay.
Terrion Arnold actually had a 34 point something coverage rate. So he was playing really good in the last 2 games. He didn't let up a touch. He shut down except for the one play. Actually that was a Meek, but he did very good against Minnesota. He did very good against the next team they played, Washington. He did very good in Washington. That's where he got the concussion in Washington late in that game. But he was shutting down people. And again, there was no scary Terry, so you can't really. I mean, there's really no good receivers on that team. And Dan Kirby, he's like the lifeblood of that defense. Without him, usually that defense is okay, but not great. We might have to go with the Legion of Whom again. They played really good against Tampa Bay. And they beat Tampa Bay just with those. We had 4 different freaking defensive backs playing in that game. None of them.
How's Hutch doing? How's Hutch?
Hutch is doing fine. He's got 7 sacks so far. So I mean, he needs to really get going in this game because you got to disrupt Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I'm hoping that Shepard has a spy on him, because that's what killed a couple of in the early games, like Dallas. When they first played Dallas was letting him run, and then they shut that down in the second half because they decided to put a spy on him. But and the same thing was with I believe it was with I think Denver had that same issue too. Even though Denver won that game, they were letting him run all over the place, and they shut it down in the second half. You got to stop him from running. If you stop him from running and force him to pass, and I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is not a feasible quarterback, but it's really not part of his game. He's not really, how can I say this? He's prolific when he needs to be prolific. Like when you get in a Super Bowl, the dude's outstanding. But on a regular season game, it's like, dude, where did that go? Where did it go? And he doesn't. Fortunately for him, he's got great wide receivers out there, so he can get it done, and a great tight end. Saquon Barkley, on the other hand, the offensive coordinator changing over there screwed that whole offense up. It's really a no-duh offense, to tell you the truth. To me, just run Saquon, and the rest of it will take care of itself. And you'll be able to run plays on third and fourth down or second down if you need to, passing plays, because you'll have those guys open if the guy is running the ball effectively. But again, and the Lions defense are really good in the front. The front seven are really good. It's just the back four I'm worried about. That's all. Hopefully they can get enough pressure. Their offensive line has been kind of shaky. They're really low in Philadelphia. Is really low in offensive rushing. They're 23rd, I think, in rushing and 21st in passing offensively. So their offense is, but they're 7-2. They're getting it done somehow.
Yes.
So that's the only reason why I'm kind of wavering on that. And they played some really good teams. Again, most of those 7 wins they've had against really good teams. So you got to give them that. They are still a Super Bowl champion until that time comes where they are ejected out of that role. So that's why I'm saying. And Dan Campbell is calling offensive plays. Morton is going to be watching. He's going to be giving his 2 cents. But the reason why, and a lot of people say, oh, Morton's not a good offensive play caller. No, he doesn't know his players. That's what it is. And sometimes you have to just let somebody else do something for a while so he can understand how the players work. He hasn't been on his team like Ben was. That's why Ben had such an offensive, was such an offensive juggernaut as a coach, because that dude knew his players. Morton doesn't know his players like that. And that's typical. I think this is the same reason why Philadelphia is having problems with their offense, because he doesn't know the players. So, once you get familiar with them, they'll start taking off. But you can't be switching offensive coordinators every year either. But yeah, Kellen Moore had that offense humming. Yeah, I'm just tippy toe on it, man. I'm sorry. The Lions really
good, man.
If they win this game, then I think they're legit. You know what I'm saying? Because you just knocked off the Super Bowl champions in their backyard. So
prime time,
and they do good in prime time. The Lions do, that is. Okay. Last but not least, and mostly least, we have the Dallas Cowboys playing the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday Night Football. Dallas is favored by 3.5. Who you got?
Wait, Dallas playing who?
The Las Vegas Raiders. Darn.
Yeah. Oh man, this is like the Dust Bowl. I mean, it's nothing but. I mean, are they in Dallas or in Las Vegas?
They're at Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely a Dust Bowl in the desert where they should all be buried.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. All those of you out there with all the rest of the mobsters and their Jimmy Hoffa and everybody else. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Dallas, man. There's no way. I just don't see the Raiders. Is just really such a disappointment. I thought I would see Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, the rookie coming in, running the ball. I I saw the hair. I'm thinking Marshawn Lynch. Yeah. I'm not. The offensive line is terrible. They're just their whole scheme is just bad, man. They need help. They need help, and I think maybe Ashton Genty has a better year next year. Man, when he gets a little bit more offensive line, maybe some wide receivers. They got rid of Jacoby Myers. Maybe addition by subtraction there because he wasn't happy there. But I just don't see them beating Dallas. I think the offense of Dallas is just smoking, and they're gonna light this defense up, man. I just think that Dallas is not a good team, mind you, by all intents and purposes. They're not good, but offensively they still can. And Dak is still MVP caliber, I think. To some degree, but I think against a really bad defense, he should light this team up.
Oh yeah, the Cowboys are still fourth in total offense, and they are. Why do I have my paperwork all messed up here? That's not supposed to be last, and they're fourth in scoring offense. So their offense is not a problem. We know this. Dak is playing at a good level. I don't care what nobody says about Dak Prescott. He's a feasible quarterback. He gets it done. As long as he doesn't get hurt, the dude is golden. I mean, you got to remember a few years ago, he led the number one offense. Dallas was the number one offense in the league. So he's getting back to, and plus he's got CeeDee Lamb and Pickens. So, and let's not forget Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson's out there balling too.
Yeah.
And they have a pretty formidable running back too. So, I mean, it's their offensive line is playing a lot better. The one thing I want to see in this game, because they just got him in a trade, is Quinnen Williams.
Yeah.
I want to see how this defense
can.
I want to see if they can stop Genty, because if they can, Vegas really has no chance in heck to win that game. So
right.
I'm not giving Vegas any kudos in this one. That's another team I'm picking against most of the season because they just Geno, man, come on, dude. I don't know if he thought that Pete Carroll thought that he was going to reinvigorate Geno. I don't know what that was, but Geno has not been the Geno we are used to seeing, like when he was in Seattle. Heck, no, that dude is straight not good. All right, well that's going to take care of our slate of games for today. Was there anything else that you we got a couple more minutes left? Is there anything else that you are looking forward to see in this day of football?
Well, the Saints are on a bye, so not really much in regards to that. Maybe some basketball. It depends on. I mean, man, OKC is still like the top of the cream of the crop right now in basketball. Equal Pro Bowl. And the flag football version of it, yes, probably. It's not much else. I guess we can send a rest in peace to Easley. That the Seattle Seahawks great Hall of Famer. Yeah. He passed away. Rest in peace, man. What a tough player.
He was one of the players when I was growing up that I watched because I used to like the Broncos when they had John Elway, and he was near the end of he was when John Elway started, that's when Kenny Easley was still playing. Still, he was on the end of his career, but he was still playing. He was great. Whenever the Broncos played Seattle, and remember they used to be both in the AFC West.
Yeah.
So they used to have some slob knockers, them in Seattle, Broncos in Seattle. And Easley, boy, he used to piss me off in some games because he was a phenomenal safety. He was a very underrated, phenomenal safety on Seattle. And I remember some games when they were, John Elway was doing his little drive thing, going down the field to score a point. This fool would come out of nowhere and pick the ball off. And I remember one game, it was a regular season game before the playoffs, and they had to play Seattle again anyway. But they had to play Seattle, and I don't know I don't know if John Elway didn't see him or he I don't know what happened. The receiver ran a wrong route or whatever the case may have been, but Kenny Easley came out of nowhere, picked the ball off and returned it for a pick six. and that's how the Broncos lost that game. I was like, dude, come on. I hate Seattle, but he was a really good safety all in all. So yeah, prayers out to his family.
Yeah, he's on some pretty bad teams, man. But so he and Kurt Warner, is it Kurt Warner? Oh, no, Kurt Warren, the running back.
Kurt Warren, yes.
They were the best things about Seattle back then. Yeah, but other than that, they were trash.
Well, they were in a few playoff games. You got to remember they also had what's the guy that Jerry Rice used to break records with all the time?
Steve Largent.
Steve Largent. Yeah, Steve Largent was a big part of that team
also,
too. They had a pretty decent team. Not in the 70s, more in the 80s that they had a pretty good team. But in the 70s they didn't have a good team, and then of course they went to the Super Bowl in 2000s. But that's when they already went to the NFC. And I kind of missed that because I like those battles in the AFC West with Seattle. Kind of was really hard to get used to adjusting when Seattle came into the NFC. It was like, it's an NFC team. I got to remember that. Chris Warren. Yeah, Chris Warren. Well, Chris Warren.
Chris Warren. Thank you. Chris Warren. Yeah. Thank you. There's been some things on I've been seeing online to the G League and Brian Starnes. Oh, come on, monkey. Let's be serious. Maybe his son, yes. But there's no way LeBron goes to the G League. What about, I guess we got 10 minutes, man. I guess maybe we could talk about our top. It's probably something we would have to think about, maybe like our top 5 running backs all time or something like that.
I mean, we could go with anything, really. I mean, basketball seems to be put into this conversation a little bit. You alluded to it. The Pelicans fired somebody.
Yes, Willie Green, I believe.
Willie Green, head coach. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
did you see that coming?
Kind of. Yeah. But I also saw that.
How long has he been coach for the Pelicans?
I think he was just 1 year last year. I'm not sure. It's not good though. They just haven't been good. And I think part of it is Shaun Alexander was a beast, man. He was MVP that year. When
they went to the Super Bowl.
He led the touchdowns until LaDainian Thompson broke it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that said, about New Orleans, man, Zion is the biggest culprit here. His health. He just can't stay healthy, man. Even with the Ozempic, I mean, and I'm assuming that's what he did to lose all that weight. But yeah, let's not say that. I'm not saying that he did Ozempic, but to lose weight and to be healthy on the court, it didn't help. I mean, he's still having issues with the hamstrings and everything else, man. So the best ability is availability, and he's not available most times. And right now, they got a bunch of rookies. Jeremiah Fears, Queen. Those guys have promise. Sadiq Bey and Jordan Poole that they added to the team. They all can make a really decent team, but man, it missing Zion is a big issue, and it doesn't get any better when you have teams that are coming up like the Spurs. Even though the Spurs lost to Golden State, they lost a close game to Golden State. The Spurs are really no. I never liked that name, but I always say the Pels. It's just goofy to even name. I mean, because just because your bird is a state bird doesn't mean you should name it after. Find something else. They could have went with the Jazz. I mean that's unfortunate. The Jazz didn't change their name. We could have got our name back because again, no one. To me,
yeah. That's
there is
no Jazz in Utah. Come on.
Not at all. Not at all. Not even on a CD. So it's just goofy. So yeah, they should have gave that name up and changed to something else out there. But like the morons instead of the Mormons. Yeah, for keeping the name. That's what you call them, the morons.
The morons.
So yeah, definitely. I just don't. Yeah, I don't like the Pelicans either. So yeah, Monkey, I agree with you. This is a terrible name. But yeah, they got
is doing preemptive stuff, thinking that maybe this is not going to be the year that they get anything done. I mean, it's still early. It's still early. I mean, we only played 12, 13 games in an NBA season, so it's still early. But I think I think that he's making some preemptive strikes here, just so
For
that
sure.
next year comes, everybody will be on the same page.
Right. And there's got to be something to say, okay, this is not uh, where the leadership is. I mean, so you got to let them go because you got a lot of young players in it. So you want somebody in there that's going to come in with them and be able to galvanize and collect and keep the team disciplined and competitive. To maybe get at least 500 this year. Maybe they can. Maybe that whoever the interim coaches, I forgot who they named, but can get them 500, and then maybe we can get a healthy Zion back in. Who knows? That's a maybe, a big maybe. But
Well,
I agree with the move.
Who would step up as leadership as a player if Zion is the one that gets taken out next year? I mean, if he's not playing with the Pelicans next year, who would be the next guy you think that would step up in that role?
I don't know because that's a big if because you're looking at somebody who was number one overall, and that's a big talent to shoes to fill. It's just like wow. But again, he's not healthy. So I'll be honest with you. I like Derek Queen. I think he can do some things. He's been showing me some things, and maybe he has the leadership skills to be able to do some things. I like his skill set for a big man. But I don't know who you bring. You got to bring in a marquee name to come down and play. But who wants to come down there to New Orleans? I don't think many names people want to come down there. But yeah, he's very disappointing in Zion, man. It's just I don't know. It's just he's just unhealthy, and that's the biggest thing because when he's on, he's on. Oh man, you want to trade one problem for another? Oh, I don't
Right.
know if I want. Come to New Orleans that has been the murder capital of the world at times, and you want to carry the man that likes to brandish his guns down there? No,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm not bringing that down there. Yeah,
Go
but I
to any
mean,
Texas
talent
team.
wise, Ja is great talent wise, but were you just asking about leadership? He's immature. That's not a
Mm-hmm.
guy you want there. You want somebody with some good leadership skills. Like who they really miss is C.J. McCollum. Great leadership down there. That's a player that they miss, and so they need somebody like that to come in, and you need a marquee talent to come in to replace Zion. And I don't know if they're going to have that. And so we'll see. Right now, Sadiq Bey is decent too as well as far as leadership goes, but they need a serious talent to be there to replace Zion if he's not going to be there.
Speaking of Sadiq Bey, who was an ex-Piston, those Pistons are second in the league right now as far as record rise. Again, I
But
understand.
first in the
14
Eastern
games.
Conference, though, they're first in
Yeah.
the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they're 3 games ahead of the New York Knickerbockers. So
Yeah.
I like to do this because I like doing this to Nate. He's like, yeah, well, they're not going to be able to sustain it all year. All you got is Cade Cunningham, dude. Did you not watch the game where all 4 starters didn't play and they beat the heck out of Chicago? Yeah, they got other people that can score, bro. Come on.
Yes. And it's the beginning of the season, but I think Detroit is for real. I think Detroit's for real. So, and I'm not liking a lot of the teams on the Eastern Conference. So I think it's wide open. And you know who's at the bottom? I mean, the third from the bottom, Boston.
Yeah, Boston's
They,
playing some pretty horrific basketball right now. Yeah,
they're missing their top guy for
but
sure.
then, yeah, I mean, they're missing a couple of guys, and they trade for a couple of guys, trade away a couple of guys too. I mean, I don't know what they were doing there, but they're not going to be. I don't think they're going to be in contention this year. I really don't. I just don't see it. I think Cleveland Cavaliers are doing pretty well. In fact, one of the games I did see the Pistons play, I wish I didn't see that game because the Pistons were just horrible in that game. They got their butts kicked by Cleveland at the Palace on top of it. So it's like, it kind of reminds me, some teams will come in there and play well, kind of like how Carolina Panthers went into Atlanta and played Atlanta and just dominated them and won that game. But then they play New Orleans and they can't do the same thing. It's like two different teams. I was like, this is not the Pistons that I was watching the last couple of games. What the hell? Would they change uniforms or something? What happened? Because they were.
Well, Cleveland's noted for their defense. They have really good defense, though. Cleveland.
It wasn't even their defense. I mean, these dudes couldn't make a layup. I'm serious. I was saying that to one of my my boys in Texas. I was like, dude, these guys can't make a layup. They can't make a layup. They must really stink. I said, yeah, they can't make a layup. They were bouncing stuff off the rim. It's like they couldn't make a shot to save their life. And Cleveland went on a 20-something run. It was over from that point. I was like, yeah, let me turn this game off. But they have improved. Cleveland's still up there. They're 9-5. So they've been playing some pretty good basketball. But other than that, I mean, the Knicks are kind of up and down. Atlanta's they're starting to pick up their game too. I thought Atlanta was going to be one of those teams that was going to be really good. The 76ers, Orlando though. I sure thought Orlando, and again, let's be reasonable about this. It's still beginning of the season, so they could still be good. But Orlando's not starting off very well. But yeah, I know you don't like basketball, Monkey. That's what it is. When Boston sucks, yeah, that's right. Yeah, all right, exactly. But go ahead. Yeah, we're at the end of our show here. Thank you for holding on with us there. We talked a little basketball, even though this is a football show. But hey, we got through everything pretty good without Jack and Keith being here, because usually that's what draws it out a little bit, all four of us being on the same panel. But have a great day. Watch these football games. Hopefully that the Lions will make everybody happy, except for Philadelphia.
Go Lions. Go Lions.
And Seattle Rams, check that out. That'll be the pregame for the game. That's what I say. And join Jack and Keith tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the morning, and Jack and Frank at 7 p.m. for Gloved Fist. Everybody have a great day again.